Well, welcome back to Lucore Automotive Services. Today I'm working on the 67 Chevelle again. We have finished the rear brake conversion to disc brake with parking brake. And the parking brake actually works pretty good, but the brakes don't. I wasn't really happy with the pedal feel this thing had when I first got it in, and I'm going to pull the master cylinder off, check to make sure the free play that I'm feeling is, I think, probably a linkage issue. So we'll go get him. So we'll see if I'm correct on that. And then I'm going to change the proportioning valve out. This was a disc drum brake system. The customer wanted it to be four-wheel disc. Compressor shows up on cue. So the proportioning valve needs to be changed out for a disc prop valve, which we picked one of those up. I'm going to stick that in. I've got to pull the brake master off to check the linkage. So at the same time, I'm going to pull the proportion valve out, and then I'll bleed the whole system. So we decided to go ahead and upgrade his front rotors to drilled and slotted. That way they match all the way around and gives it that aggressive look. So if you want to see what I do with this, we're going to move forward on the brakes. Mr. Customer was happy to hear we got the part done, but wasn't happy that we weren't happy with the results. And he just said, just do what it needs so that it works the way it needs to work. I said, yes sir, we can make that happen. So let's get to it and get this thing done. Four wheels, get started. Well, I was thinking about pulling the inner liner, but I'm not sure I want to. My proportioning valve's right there. And when I pull my master out, I should have pretty good access to it. So let's see, let's start from the top. Looks like this has Speedway drop spindles on it. Nice bits. Put your hand on this, just hold it up there, and I'm going to activate the brake, and I want to know when you start to feel it.
Okay. Yep. Now.
Wow.
Now. How much pedal travel do you have?
There's a lot of pedal travel there. That's what I suspected. You don't have brakes because you don't have a connection between your master cylinder and the pedal. So
we did a throw difference there?
Well, so these have a rod, usually have adjustable rods. I've overcome that in the past by just making a rod that fills the hole in the master, which is probably what's going to have to happen here, assuming this booster carries enough. Well, one, if the engine makes enough vacuum, and two, if the booster is big enough, because that looks like a smaller booster.
Or use the extra new booster.
Well, maybe. We'll see. If I don't have to replace parts he's already paid for, then there's no reason in replacing his parts. But I have to pull it up. I have to pull the master and the lines to get to the proportion valve because it's down on the frame rail.
Yeah.
I was going to pull the fender liner, but it's in with like 12 different types of fasteners, and I'm not sure I want to fight that. So I'm going to fight it the other way.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you.
Yep.
That told me what I needed to know.
That's that.
That's what I thought I was gonna see. Let's put some plastic down here. And let's just start with that. Let's just take the master cylinder out of the way, then we'll take the lines out of the way. guys come pick up the Jeep. There you go. Ooh, that guy was really long. You put that in the wrong spot, it'll put an out ding on the fender. Phillips tire clearance. I decided to remove the inner liner because where this proportioning valve is and what it's attached to is really hard to get to, and the header's in the way. So I either pull the header, which I don't want to do, or I pull the inner liner, which I also don't want to do, but it's the most easiest thing to do. There's a bunch of weird hardware in this. It's not like factory style hardware, but it'll do. It'll hold the thing together. I'll probably put a little more factory style stuff back in with J-clips. That way it's easy to install and remove from underneath. Because that's the way I like to work on cars. I want them to be easy to work on when I get to them. So I will get some J-clips and body bolts coming. Hey, I missed that guy right there. Let's see if that helps me get him out. I don't think I missed anything else. I think that's it. I think that might be my miss. Hey, I was right. You can get those out in the car. That's what I'm looking at. Heading down here in the depths. So let's get our new one and get it stuck in there so we can keep putting this thing back together. So that little bolt right there I got to get out to get the proportioning valve out of the way. I've got all my line fittings out. If you can see that or not. All the lines are loose. But I'll show you the next problem we run into as soon as I get this out of here, because just because the new proportioning valve is the right one doesn't mean it's the right one. So the new one for disc drum GM applications is this, which is kind of the standard on the GM stuff, but this looks to be like a factory original stick shift drum proportioning valve would be my guess. I don't know, I'll have to do some research into that. Doesn't have any more. 6-268. So we'll look that up and see what that is. Or 6-266. Get my reading glasses. I'm getting old. Can't see anything anymore. Stinks getting old. Don't get old, guys. It's not fun. Can be used for drum or disc drum. So yes, that is a drum disc drum proportioning valve. And unfortunately, the fittings are different on it. So that complicates things. It's not just putting in a proportioning valve, because now my proportioning valve, my line for here is different. Looks like my line for there is different. And that line looks like it might fit. But basically, we now have to make new lines to complement the new part. And while that's not a big deal, it's time, and time is money, and time is something that the customer has to pay for. Because even though this is supposed to be a quick and easy change out, change of brakes, it's not. So it is what it is. I will make some new brake lines Basically, I will have to make the line that goes from the proportioning valve to the right front wheel. I'm going to have to modify the line that goes to the back, I think, and one of the lines from the master cylinder down. But that should get us to the next step, which is bleeding the brakes. I have to make an adjustment to the hydraulic, or the hydraulic booster. I have to make an adjustment to the linkage in the vacuum booster, and I think that'll solve our master cylinder free play issue. So hey, at least we're figuring out what the problems are so that we can create remedies and move forward. I think I'm going to shut it down for the night. The traffic's died down. Our traffic here is horrible. They have that road shut down. They have that road shut down. And they just shut down the railroad. Like, guys, how do you expect us to get anywhere? You guys are killing us. It's brutal over here. Alright, well, I've come to terms with the fact that I'm going to be making new brake lines on this today. I actually just got done doing alignment on a pretty cool one. I'll let you see that one. Pretty cool 47 Ford Super Deluxe. Probably an early 90s built car. Got an interesting mix of billets and chrome. That's a cool car. I'd drive the snot out of that thing. It was once called Orange Peel, which has all sorts of different ways to be interpreted. Super cool 47. Gotta love an old fat fendered Ford, man. Got a Mustang 2 front suspension, parallel leafs in the rear. Big block Chevy, turbo 350. Probably cruises really nice. I just got the alignment squared away on it. I was going to do some mufflers, but they weren't the right ones, so he's going to go get the right ones, and if he can't get them on himself, he's going to bring them back. So, thanks for bringing me your cool cars, guys. I really appreciate it. Alright. So sometimes you put stuff on and you're like, well, that doesn't fit right. Now it fits right. So we decided to get the nice coated bracket to mount this. It will get it up and away from the exhaust header. And it'll look nice and clean. It's better than anything I could fabricate. It just looks nice. So we went and picked that up yesterday. I go ahead and get this mounted up and locked down, and then I'm going to make my new jumpers down. I'm going to make a completely new line down to the left front, and then I'm going to just splice into the other two lines. And it'll be relatively pain-free, I think. So, moving forward. Alright, so these boosters have an adjustable push rod that a lot of people apparently don't know about. This one was not adjusted, and so we're going to adjust it so that we have zero free play. This is not easy to do with one hand. Let's put it right about there, see if we're close. Basically got the rod and then a lock washer on it. I find my depth, and then I'll put some Loctite on it to make sure that it doesn't work its way back. Alright, so you can see my rod is adjusted out probably 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little more. And that was causing us a whole bunch of free play, which was resulting in a horrible feeling pedal. It just felt like nothing was there. I basically turned it out until I could feel myself compressing the piston in the master cylinder, and then I backed it back in until I have a nice flush fitment. So now we can lock that down. Our booster is adjusted.
This is pretty clearly explained on the front page of the directions for these boosters. Correct push rod length is essential to reliable braking. If the rod is too long, it causes the compensating ports in the master cylinder to be closed off, eventually resulting in brake drag. If the push rod is too short, there will be excessive brake pedal travel and possibly there will be a groaning noise from the brake booster. Use the following procedure to check push rod adjustment. So there you go, guys. Don't forget to adjust your brake booster push rods. So now poses the question, this proportioning valve will clear the fender well, but it's really close for this fitting here. So do I relocate the proportioning valve to this side of the master cylinder? I don't know. That doesn't solve any problems for this bracket, because this bracket is a left side mount. So I don't know. I think I'll try and run lines there the way it is. It's going to be tight to the fender well, but that's a bunch of things I need to change if I'm going to move it over to here. I would be able to use this line, but I would have to make a new line for here, which isn't a huge ordeal. That would place it here, which gives me a straight shot down for two of them, and a straight shot down for the left front, driver's front. But then I still am short a bracket, which is a problem. Unless I mount it the same way inboard, maybe. Maybe. It'll be too far in then, though, to use that line. So it's all about spacing and geometry, I guess. Well, let's make some lines for it and see how they turn out. We'll see what it looks like. So I made my new front line down over. I'm just going to eliminate this little piece here. I decided I'm just going to splice into this one for the other front and splice into this one for the rest of the rear. I think it'll work out just fine, and it's a lot less time than replumbing the entire car. So keep moving. Switch this line out, we'll do this line, and then we'll do our back line. Back line is just going to come over, down, and fasten in. This one here is going to be a little tricky because the inner fender is like right here, so I'm going to have to do a super tight radius. Super tight radius out of there, over and down. But I think it'll work out. Alright, well, fender liner's back in. I look to have good clearance on all my lines. Not that you can really see much up in there, but looks pretty good. Grab my viewfinder here real quick. Actually has more clearance than I thought it was going to have. So, yeah, not too bad. I think that'll work just fine. Time to bleed some brakes, and I have some drilled and slotted rotors to put on here for the fronts. That way the rotors match the backs. And you know, this thing's a crate 502 aluminum heads, so it's probably going to need to stop. And we're going to help this gentleman do that. Alright, I think I've finally lost. Oop, there's one. I think I lost one of my last working lights. Oh, that needs recharged. You're not gonna stay there, are you? Stay.
Well, poop. Stupid gravity. So, this has been dragging on this dust plate right there for quite some time. Looks like the lower control arm hits it. I'm going to open up a window around there. Or maybe I just bend it. Yeah, I'm probably going to need to window it. I don't think I can bend that out of it. Well, it sure seems like for a car that was just built, there's a lot of problems I'm sorting out just on the brakes. That concerns me a little bit about this car, I'm not going to lie. Oh, that drill bit's dull. I guess it's time for me to get some new step bits. Anybody got any recommendations on step bits that hold up well for you? I'm pretty medieval with mine, so mine don't last very long. Oh, I'm gonna have to turn Mr. Compressor on. Alright, so this interference problem here is a result of the drop spindle. You can actually see this window is here, and normally the lower control arm is in this window. So when this thing's fully extended, the rotor rubs. You could see the witness mark there and there for where it had been rubbing previously. So I just opened up a little bit here so that this guy can go back a little bit more, and it'll have a little opening there for the control arm to occupy that space. And we'll see if that solves our rubbing problem, because I don't like listening to brake rotors rub the backing plate. So let's put it back together, test fit it again. There, now we're rolling without any noises. That's good.
Crunch.
Alright, well, I've been trying to bleed this thing out for the last hour or so. I'm going to walk away from it, go get a cold drink, and take my mind off of it, probably work on a different car for a while. Sometimes I get frustrated with stuff and I choose to just walk away from it and come back to it at another time, because when you're frustrated at something, you always end up missing whatever it is you're caught up on. So I'm going to take a break. I think I'm actually going to pull in one of Austin's cars because we need to get some work done on it. But it's, I don't know, 3 o'clock. It's almost 5 o'clock. I started working on this at like 11 today. But unfortunately, time is what it takes to get some of this stuff done. Sometimes it takes longer than you think, and it is what it is. This one's definitely fighting me. I found so many little things that were wrong or assembled wrong or just not correct to begin with on this car. But I think we're closing in on the finish line. I may need somebody to two-man bleed it. I've been trying to one-man bleed it, and I've been unsuccessful. So I'm gonna walk away from it and move on to other things. I don't think we want to end this video here. I think we're gonna keep going until I'm done with this, because that'll be a final episode for this guy.
All right, well, I got this old girl moved over here to the alignment rack, and I'm trying to bleed these brakes out. I've got them working better, but they have definitely been fighting me. I'm using Bruce's handy dandy one-man brake bleeding kit here. And basically you just put it on there and you crack the bleeder. And then you pump the brakes a few times. And then you shut the bleeder and then you go to the next wheel. So I've got the brakes actually starting to grip, which is good. But I'm going to go around it one more time to see if I can get any more air out of it. And then I need to adjust my park brake cable because it's not quite pulling hard enough. So I'll take a little more slack out of that. Hopefully this will be the end of this project and I can move on to one of the many others that is sitting here waiting. So hopefully I'll be pulling this thing out of here tonight under its own power, stopping under its own brakes. It's a good looking car, man. I love this color. This blue is it looks really good out in the sunlight. I like it. I'm here to tell you, the view of an open road with that hood in front of you, that's a pretty good day's test drive right there. Well, she's back on the rack. She's got okay brakes, but not the brakes that I'm expecting us to have. And I remembered that these came with both power brakes and manual brakes. If you look up in here, there's an upper hole. I don't know if you can see it. There's an upper hole, which is where this is attached, and a lower hole. And the lower hole is for power brakes, the upper hole is for manual brakes. So I need to move that pin to the lower hole since this is now a power brake car. I think that was our last piece to this puzzle. Somebody had actually installed the pin the wrong way, so I had to actually remove it because it was blocked by the clutch rod. But now I'm in the lowest position, which is the most natural place for this booster to be hooked to. And I should have better leverage and more throw, which is what I've been missing. Let's go for a drive. Well, that's a wrap on this 1967 Chevelle with lots of brake issues.